Hello students, welcome to today's session. In today's session we are going to study the next chapter, which is process synchronization. So this is your operating system chapter. So we already discussed two chapters from operating system. This is the third chapter from operating system. We will be discussing what is process synchronization. Now, so regarding the introduction of this, what is process synchronization? First we need to understand the concept called as the process. So what is a process and how the process will be used, that we have already studied. I'm going to just briefly explain what is a process. See, if I have a file, or if I have a program, so I'll call it as program 1. Okay, so this program 1 is written in C language. So if it is written in C language, so if I want to execute this program, what we are going to do, we are going to compile the program. So once I compile the program, it is going to generate one more file. This file is called as object code. Okay, this we already know. We have a C program. So once you compile the program, so we are going to generate an object code. This object code will be in the form of machine level language. And we already know that programming language like C and other programs will be in the form of high level language. Okay, now so once we know that, if I want to execute this process, we need certain resources. Okay, so what are those resources? For any program or any program to execute, we need certain resources like memory. So that is, we need to store the program into RAM. So as we know, any program, if you want to execute, that program has to be stored into RAM. Okay, now it will be stored into RAM, so which is a resource, and we need other resources like any input devices. So and we need output devices to print the output, and so we need other resources, and majorly we need one more resource called as CPU or processor. Okay, so these are the resources that we need for execution any program. So when this resources are available, so our operating system will check whether there is enough memory in the RAM for executing the program. There is whatever input device that is required, it is available or not. It is going to check for output devices, and it is also going to check for whether CPU is free for executing this program. Once all these resources are available, then this program will be loaded into CPU. So that is, we'll consider it as scheduler. Okay, so we have a scheduler that is going to load any program that is ready for execution, will be loaded into CPU, and we know we have ready queue here. So once a program is ready for execution, it will enter into ready queue, and the scheduler will select that program and it will send to CPU. The CPU will start executing the program. Okay, the CPU will start execution of all the statements, whatever the statements that is present in the uh, whatever statements that is present in the program will be started executing by the CPU. Once this execution starts, so it will be using all these resources. Okay, now, so what is process synchronization is, if our program, that is program 1.c, is using these resources, if it is using RAM, if it is using input device, if it is using output device, and if it is using CPU, the other process, say for example I have one more program called as program 2.c, and it is also in the queue, so it is also waiting for CPU. So when this program is using this resource, other program cannot use that resource, because this resource is already being used by one more program called as program 1.c is using these resources, which is already occupied. So once completion of this execution, then only the other process or other program can use this resources. So that is the main intention of what is synchronization. Okay, so what is synchronization is, when we have one or more program needs CPU, or you can also consider not only CPU, any kind of resources. Okay, so we need resources for completion of execution of any process. If there are more than one process that is ready for execution, they should be in the form of synchronization, because when one process is being using the resources, other process should go to the waiting state. Okay, so this type of concept will consider it as process synchronization. Hope you got a brief idea about what is process synchronization. Next we'll see the basic details regarding what is process synchronization and in the PPT. Okay, now coming to the topic here, the system resources are shared between the process. As I told you, if you have more than one process that is to be executed, the resource has to be shared between process, so that concurrent access to the shared resources is possible. Okay, so that is, if you want to execute more than one program at the same time, in that case, if you have two or more CPUs, as we discussed, if you have a dual core, quad core, octa core, hexa core systems, extra core CPUs, in that case we'll have more than one CPU in a single system. So but you'll have only one keyboard and you'll have only one mouse and one hard disk or something like that. So those resources has to be shared between the different processors and different CPUs. So those things are considered as like resource sharing, so which will be done when you're using concurrent processes or concurrent processor executing. So how this is done? This is done with the help of cooperating between process. Okay, so when we have two processes that are sharing same address or same data, we'll consider those processes are called as cooperating process. What does that mean is, if you just consider a simple example, say I have a file, so and this is a audio file. Okay, so this may be any song or any audio file, and I have two softwares. One is, say I'll have a VLC player, and I have one more software, say Microsoft any audio player. Okay, so I have Microsoft audio player and I have a VLC player, and these two process, that is VLC player as well as our Microsoft audio player, both wants to play the same song. So that is, the same song will be played on two different softwares. So that is, the data is same. The data from which we are accessing the from which will be for the file which will be using, that is the file which will be used by VLC player and Microsoft audio player, both will be same, and they are trying to play the same song. So when they are trying to play the same song, it is nothing but they are going to share same data. They are going to share the same data between process 1 and process 2, and they're also going to share same resources. Okay, so like say resources like they're going to share say for example memory, and they're going to share say like speaker, which is the output device. So these devices will be same, or these resources will be same for both these uh, files or both these process. So when they are doing that, they are going to have something called as cooperation between this process. That is, when this process is accessing this file, other process will go to wait state. Okay, so when Microsoft Microsoft player is accessing this data, the other process will go to wait state. Okay, so this is called as mutual exclusion, that we'll see one by one. So this is what the concept of cooperating process or cooperating shared address or shared data means. The reason for this is information sharing. You can also consider an example of Gmail. For example, you are using your Gmail account in both your Android phone as well as in your laptop. Uh, so the data what you're going to see in the, say, your mobile phone, and the data what you're going to see on your laptop will be same, because you have logged into same Gmail ID. So the source is same. The data whatever you're stored, it will be in the same Gmail server. So the Gmail server will have all your information, and it will be stored, it will be accessed by your Android device, and also it will be accessed by your computer. Okay, now so that is, we are going to share the information between two different devices here. Similarly, speed of computation is the second reason of um, using cooperating process, because if one person or the same Gmail account can be, I mean, the same Gmail account information can be changed by using Android device as well as computer device. So whichever has the fastest capacity, or whichever is having high speed, they can manipulate the data faster. Okay, so it can improve the speed of say data. Okay, next is modularity is, so you can divide any task between two different processes. Say when you are doing something like this, you can also consider, say you have a file, and this file is of 100 pages. Okay, and you have two printers, printer 1 and printer 2, and you want this printer to be printed within 200, I mean say 20 seconds or 30 seconds. In that case, what we'll do, we'll send first 50 pages to printer 1, second 50 pages to printer 2. So in that case, what happens, the same data what you have, the same file 1 will be shared between printer 1 and printer 2. So which will be like, you can do two things at the same time. Okay, which is like modularity. We are going to divide the task into subtasks, which is like modularity. And convenience, so conveniences, so you can, example, you can consider Gmail, where you can access your Gmail account either through Android phone, either through computer, or any other kind of mobile phones can be accessed, can access Gmail. Okay, which will help us to access the data faster, which is like convenience. And if several processes manipulate the same data in an order, it is called as racing condition. Say for example, you have a single file, and that single file 1 is accessed by two or three processes, like say process 1, process 2, and process 3. We have three different processes, okay, which are trying to access the same file, same data. Now in that case, we will come across the condition called as racing condition, where two or more processes are trying to manipulate the same data. Okay, when they are trying to manipulate the same data, we will be using something like priority. Okay, so priority or the order. Okay, so the order in which the process has started, according to which we can execute the request given by the user, so which is implemented as racing condition. Okay, next, coming to the same topic, where we have one more thing called as the topic called as critical section. What is critical section is? The critical section means is, if you have a data, so that data can be accessed by only one process at a time. So if process 1, process 2, or both are trying to access the same data, both will not be allowed to access at the time. Okay, so for example, you have created a table in your Oracle, or Oracle 10G you are using. Okay, so if you are using Oracle 10G, and that software, you have created a table, you have created a table called as login. Okay, in that table you have a username as well as password, have username and password and other information about the user. Now if this table login is accessed by two users, one is system and other is admin, two users are trying to access the same information. If they are trying to access the same information, now I cannot allow both the users to access at the same time. So system as well as admin cannot access this table at a time. If system is accessing that table, admin should go to waiting state. If admin is acting, so system will go to waiting state. Okay, so this is nothing but critical section. So what is critical section is, only one process can execute in critical section at a time. All other processes have to wait to execute their critical section. Okay, what does that mean is, so critical section is given as follows, given. So once the critical section is started, it will go to entry section, and it will go to the critical section, and it will execute that particular statement that will come out of the exit out of that critical section, and it will remind others to saying that I have completed. And so while that is true, other process can execute. So what does that mean is, say if you want to understand better about this, for example, you have something um, like you are checking for the inbox. You have an email, you have your Gmail account, and your Gmail account, you are using it in two devices. One is your Android device, and other one is your computer. You'll be using your Gmail in two different devices. One is your Android, other one is your computer. Now, if Android is using the Gmail account for sending some information, okay, so Android is using this Gmail account to send some mail to some other person. So the computer cannot see that. Okay, once the Android has sent the information, so when it is sending, the computer cannot access because it will be in the waiting state. Okay, because the Gmail has not yet updated, it has not given permission for the computer to see whatever the changes had made. Now once this has sent the information, the computer can also see the information, seeing that the computer can also see the information that it has sent some mail to some other person through Android device or some other device. So we have sent some information in our sent images box. Okay, in sent images or sent messages means a menu, you can see the mail has been sent. What does that mean is, if Android device is accessing Gmail, so it will be under critical section. Okay, what does that critical section means? The entire control of Gmail will be given to Android. Once the mail has sent, this critical section has been completed. So since this critical section has completed, now other process, which is from the computer also, I can access the Gmail. Now once computer access the Gmail, then it can see that it is sent a new mail to some other email ID. Okay, so that is just a simple example how we can understand what is the meaning of critical section. It is just means that once when any process is executing any important task, say for example, if I have a file 1, or I have only one printer, which is P1. So this printer P1 is having some set of files like file 1, file 2, and up to 10 files are there which has to be printed. Now if this printer is printing file 1, file 2 will be in waiting state, because until this file 1 has completed its printing, file 2 cannot print the information. Similarly, if any process is accessing, say whatever process that you are accessing, if it is executing some information that cannot be shared, okay, if a process is executing some information that cannot be shared at the given time, it can share the information later. So those type of sections or those type of execution part will enter into critical section, where the resources or the execution of instructions will not be shared with any other process. So that is, only one process will execute at a given point of time. After completion of execution, other process can access the information, which is nothing but our critical section problem. So we have entry section, critical section, exit section, as well as reminder section. So entry section will say that other process should enter into wait state. Okay, now after completion of the execution of the critical section, we'll say something will come out of the critical section and will give you something called as notify. Okay, what this notify function will do, it will tell other process that we have completed we have completed the critical section, so that you can execute the sections, or you can execute your critical section part now. Okay, so the entry section handles entry into the critical section. It acquires resources needed for the execution of the process. So exit section handles the exit of the critical section. It releases all the resources and also informs other process that critical section is free. It is just like you have a simple say keyboard. When you are using one software, like say you are using MS Word, your keyboard will be under the control of MS Word. Once you switch from MS Word to other application, your keyboard will go to the control of other software. Okay, so like that it is just like that. So if you have some set of instructions that has to be executed, so which cannot be interrupted until its completion, so that is done with the help of critical section. Now we'll come to the next part of it. So the critical section problem needs a solution, that is to synchronize the different process. So that is this problem, that is when one process is execution, other is under execution, other process should wait. Okay, so to implement this, we'll be using these three concepts called as mutual exclusion, progress, and bounded wait. What is mutual exclusion? Mutual exclusion means only one process can be inside the critical section, any other process at a time, and any other process requires critical section must wait until it is free. Okay, that is the first thing. That is that type of representation we'll consider as mutual exclusion. If one process in the critical section, other process will go to waiting state. Next, progress. What does progress means? If a process is not using critical section, then it should not stop any other process from accessing the critical section. In other words, any process can enter a critical section when it is free. That is what is the meaning of progresses. So progress is nothing but if any one process is not using critical section, it should not stop the other process from accessing the critical section. Now coming for bounded wait. Bounded wait means each process must have a limited waiting time. Okay, it is not like if a process starts executing, it will take 2 hours of time and other process will be waiting in the waiting state for 2 hours. That is not the case. Every process will be having some fixed amount of waiting state. Once it has passed it, it should be allotted with the critical section. Okay, so it should be wait, it not have wait, endless wait and access to critical section. So that is about what is the basic concept about what is synchronization and what is the meaning of mutual exclusion, progress, and what is bounded wait. Okay, so I'll stop this session here. The next session we'll continue with the next topics. So these are very important topics. If you are able to understand the meaning of it, you will it will feel easy to understand the concepts. So I'll stop the session here. Thank you.